And here we go.
Hey everybody, how's it going today? My name is Mike from the Super Wheeler Bros, and today we have for you a review for the first 4 hours of the new miniseries run for 24 Legacy. Now there is going to be spoilers for the first 4 episodes of the show, so if you haven't seen them yet, go jump on Hulu or check your on-demand online, or whether it be with your local cable company, and check it out before you see the review, and let's get into it. 24 Legacy has got a big shadow hovering over it, and his name is Jack Bauer. And Jack Bauer is the main protagonist of 24, the series in which this is spun off of, and the universe in which it exists. And therein lies probably the biggest setback of 24 Legacy. It just is missing something, and that is Jack. It's missing Jack. Now, I don't know how it's going to play out yet. I know Carlos Bernard, who plays Tony Almeida from the original series run, is supposed to make a return appearance. We don't know yet how big or small that's going to be, how substantial it's going to be, and whether or not it's going to satiate that nostalgic factor. Now, what I do like about 24 Legacy is that it hasn't mentioned Jack. It hasn't tried to hang on to the past. They have a similar feel and a similar structure, the patented time structure, where it's all in real time, that is taken and pulled over from the original series run, and it's still a great format. It still lends itself to exciting TV. What we have on the first 4 episodes of 24 represents pretty solid television. I definitely was riveted enough and had my attention kept enough to go from each episode and to anticipate watching it every Monday. I like the new color scheme that they brought. We even have music holding over from the previous run of the series, with Sean Callery, the main composer for the original series run of 24. So there is some continuity there. I'd also like to talk about our characters that we have got here. We've got Corey Hawkins, who played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton and is right now enjoying a hiatus from The Walking Dead as the character Heath. Corey Hawkins is a good lead. He's not nearly as compelling as Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer, and I think that's probably the biggest place that it falters, because the supporting characters are actually really good. We have Miranda Otto playing Rebecca Ingram, who was the former CTU director. She now basically is doing a lot of things behind the scenes for her husband, Senator John Donovan, played by the awesome and amazing Jimmy Smits, and his presence is always welcome, and he has been awesome on the show so far. Probably the best political figure in the show since Dennis Haysbert as David Palmer, President David Palmer. I very much enjoyed that portion of the show. He just has a good presence, and he's fulfilling that role really well. Again, Corey Hawkins, he's a pro. He does a really solid job. He just doesn't quite have the same desperation and intensity as Kiefer did as Jack Bauer. And Miranda Otto, as I mentioned before, as Rebecca Ingram, she's also been kind of a solid connection to CTU, and I don't know, she just fills that role that Bill Buchanan did, and Tony did, and all the different CTU personnel that ran things back at the headquarters, and just made for a lot of really interesting things. There was a couple of small moments, like one of the head programmers, Andy, played by Dan Bukatinsky. He actually is a really interesting character as a programmer. He's got a different arc. He's a gay character, and I loved the fact that they were able to take that, and while they haven't touched on it much, it was nice to just have that little nugget where they had the director of field ops and he were in a previous relationship, and he was afraid as to how it would look. So the field ops head dropped Andy as a companion, and it was a really interesting dynamic that they obviously haven't explored yet on 24. So I did like those little character moments, but the suspense is really what 24 is all about, and it definitely gives us plenty of action, plenty of suspense. There is a really good setup with Eric's wife Nicole, played by Anna Diop, her having to basically seek sanctuary with his estranged brother, who is a gangster, he's a drug dealer. That whole setup is really, really good, and the drama that has been built off of that is really, really good. The red herrings and kind of MacGuffins that they throw at you, typical 24, they're not as spontaneous and they're a little bit more predictable this time around, but that's okay. I can forgive that. That's not a big deal. As long as they keep those kinds of things coming and they keep you guessing and keep you on your toes and don't allow you to foresee things a mile away, then that's okay. I think the biggest drawback so far in the show, besides Corey Hawkins being an adequate and to very good lead, but just not great, not what we're accustomed to, is the subplot involving the school and the young people, where we have a teacher in a relationship with a student who's getting coerced into building a bomb for the terrorists, where the terrorist cell is trying to awaken these sleeper cells, and they're trying to recreate chaos and have the end game that started the whole season off, where Eric led the Army Rangers and killed one of these terrorists, and they haven't done a good job yet of fleshing out the bad guys. They haven't done a good job of presenting reasons for their plight. This is something that old seasons of 24 did an amazing job. If they didn't make it to where you understood the villain, they at least made them imposing. And that is really important, because when you have a hero like Eric, I don't feel like he's ever in jeopardy right now. Whereas Jack, even though he became more of a caricature of himself by the end, he's always felt like he's been in jeopardy. I mean, it's always felt so urgent. And this is not really necessarily feeling the same way. It's still really, really good. And the teacher relationship with the student and another student who is her boyfriend finding out about it, that whole thing has already run its course. And I hope that in 4 episodes, it's about done. It seems to have kind of been wrapped up a little bit, but the relationship there is really, it's weird. I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. And again, I think the biggest misstep is going to be the bad guys. You know, even in 24 Live Another Day, we had the amazing Michelle Fairley playing the main bad guy there, and then giving way to a series bad guy in Chang. And it was much more well done in the miniseries. Now, who knows? Who knows? Maybe Tony Almeida will ultimately come out and be the main bad guy. Maybe we'll get somebody that we didn't expect. You never know. It is 24 after all, and it is carried over a lot of the creative people behind the scenes from the original series run. So there's no telling. We may end up getting something very spectacular with the end of this run. And it has hooked me enough for me to want to go through the ride. There's only 12 episodes, and I'm behind Corey Hawkins as Eric Carter. I'm behind him. I really like him. I think he does a really good job. I think he's a really good actor, and I hope that he is able to kind of bring the intensity that I know he's capable of in this role. I think he's a little bit more relatable than Jack. He's a little bit more personable than Jack, but just doesn't quite have the same intensity and urgency and desperation. And hopefully that's something that will work itself out over the course of the show. I like it. I do. I was really skeptical. I was really, really upset because I really want to have an ending to 24, a proper ending for Jack. We left it on a huge cliffhanger. Again, spoilers if you haven't seen the previous series. But there's no resolution so far for Jack. I'm hoping that there's still a chance that we can see a resolution there. But for now, I'm really enjoying 24 Legacy. I think that they have done an excellent job. The production values are great. There is a little bit of bad CGI in a couple of the episodes, but it's network television, so, and they don't have as big of a budget as, say, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has now. So you will see from time to time probably some relatively poor CGI. I don't think that they were operating on nearly as large of a budget as the old 24 series was, obviously, because they were able to do things with practical effects and stunt work, and the CGI there was done well, though you didn't have as much of it. So, in the end, I'm going to go ahead and give the first 4 hours of 24 Legacy a really solid 8 out of 10. It hasn't been perfect, it hasn't even been great, but it's been really good and really solid, and right now it definitely has me on the ride, and I am definitely looking forward to see where this goes and how this miniseries concludes its run. More than likely what I'm going to do is probably do every 4 episodes, which would make 3 reviews, and then have a whole series review at the end. I'm also watching 24 again, seasons 1 through 9, 1 through 8, and 24 Live Another Day, and I will do a review on those, hopefully 1 per week, to fill the gap for the rest of the season. There is 8 weeks left in 24 Legacy, so I'm hoping to have a review each week. That's a lot of TV watching for me, but I love 24, so there's a good possibility that my plan will stay on schedule. So keep your eyes out for those. Definitely let me know how you guys are liking 24 Legacy in the comments below. I'm definitely interested to see what your guys' thoughts are. If you liked this review, definitely give us a like. It really helps us out. And if you are enjoying our content and want to see more of it, definitely hit that subscribe button, and you can be an honorary Wheeler Brother as well. My name is Mike from the Super Wheeler Bros, and as always, my friends, have yourselves a super week.